Good evening and Happy New Year. Welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Eugene Chan. Tonight, we are going to have a crucial discussion that touches the heart of our community, the fight against drugs in Hong Kong. To talk about this, we have the Chairman of Action Committee Against Narcotics, Dr. Donald Lee. Dr. Lee is a specialist in family medicine and the Chairman of the Elderly Commission. He is also the immediate past president of the World Organization of Family Doctors, Censor of the Hong Kong College of Family Physicians, and past president of the Hong Kong Academy of Medicine. Dr. Lee dedicates much of his professional time to academia and teaching, both in Hong Kong and the mainland, where he has contributed to the training and development of family medicine for over 20 years. This evening, we have invited Dr. Lee to talk to us about narcotics in Hong Kong and whether Hong Kong can ever be drug-free. Welcome, Donald.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation.
Dr. Lee, I think many people in Hong Kong are concerned about drug issues in the community. And maybe you can provide an overview of the current drug situation in Hong Kong. How bad are we?
Okay. I would not say that we have no drug abuse problems, but there has been a lot of improvement. Overall, I think it's generally under control because a lot of efforts have been put into anti-drug actions, all right? And this is barefoot. It has involved educationists, social workers, public, and all that. So we can see numbers actually dropping. Now, just for example, if you look at the numbers in the past 2023, 3 quarters, compared to, say, 10 plus years ago, 2010, there's a drop of 60%. That's quite significant. But however, we must still remain vigilant because there's a lot of involvement. There are changing trends and drug trafficking agents, people trying to promote drugs, have many different ways of trying to combat the situation as well.
Right, just now you mentioned that there's an overall decrease of drug issues in Hong Kong. And what, in your view, what will be the main reason for that?
I think it's a success of public education, training, and then also providing the correct information. Because all along, there has been the biggest problem of the false information about drugs not being harmful and that it can be even recreational. Right. But then I think throughout the years, we've been successfully telling the public how harmful they can be. And it's not the right image, nor is it any use to society to allow this kind of thing to happen. And then I think people are more aware of their own health and well-being, and then they're more conscious of the harmful effects of drugs. So again, we are getting some results.
Right.
Legislation, of course, and also law enforcement has helped a lot. Control, border control, and all that. So many stakeholders have contributed, actually, to decrease drug abuse in Hong Kong.
Right, and just now you mentioned that in particular last year, there's a drop of almost 60%. I mean,
this is compared to 2010.
Right, I see.
Yeah.
So anyway, so tonight we are inviting you as the chairman of the Action Committee Against Narcotics. We call it ACAN. Not all the viewers are familiar with this committee, and maybe you can tell us something about this committee briefly. Why was it set up?
Certainly, it's an advisory committee. It's non-statutory, so it advises government on policies. I think basically the awareness that drug problems can become more serious. I mean, I think all along historically we've known problems such as heroin, which has caused a lot of problems in families and individuals and all that. So actually earlier government set up this committee to advise on policies related on how to control drug abuse and how hopefully to even eradicate drug abuse. These are the objectives. And so this committee provides a lot of advice, but also helps in resource allocation of the government. For example, government has a big beat drug fund to support initiatives to help decrease drug abuse. And so, for example, our committee has a strong advisory role as to where the funds are allocated. We also coordinate between stakeholders, such as NGOs, government departments, such as the police, immigration, even customs and all that, to make sure all of them can work together in objectives to decrease drug abuse.
Right. Dr. Lee, I must call you chairman now because I'm actually a member of the ACAN myself, and in addition to what you have said, I mean, we also have the committee also has the presence of the police and also the customs, who are actually checking on the border to make sure all the drugs are not, at least we try to stop them from coming through Hong Kong. So, I mean, in Hong Kong, our government do have a lot of advisory boards with, non-official members. How do you see the contribution of such advice to the government, especially under your leadership? Do you think it has helped the ACAN to be even more effective?
Well, I think we have been effective because policies have been heard, and then we go through, and any initiatives, actually, we have a lot of in-house discussion, and also we have experts in our committee, such as your good self, and also others. We have representatives from the police, for example, and also customs, who can also give suggestions. And education department, this is a strong part, because I think drug abuse, if you look at it, there are three issues. Okay, one is education, publicity, so that people know harmfulness of drugs and the problems and that. The other is treatment and rehabilitation. So something to offer for those who already get into trouble. How can we help? And the third part is regulation. And this is where the police and customs and all that come in. So we are able, ACAN is able to coordinate all these parties so that they can work together effectively to achieve, hopefully, a drug-free Hong Kong.
Right. Dr. Lee, since you mentioned about regulations, I mean, the government actually submitted a proposal to the Legislative Council in June 2022 for controlling cannabis, so-called CBD, through legislation. And the new law has come into effect since 1st of February 2023, just over 12 months. So is ACAN all for the ban?
We're all for the ban because this is in line of control of cannabis, which is a dangerous drug. A lot of people do not realize or think that CBD maybe is not psychoactive, and why should we ban it? But then actually what we need to realize is CBD and something called THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, is actually a byproduct of the plant. So CBD cannot be isolated actually easily without THC. So a lot of times it's associated. So products that claim that they have only CBD actually also have THC. And so this is in line with our control of this psychoactive drug. Moreover, CBD actually can be converted into THC. So there's an area of abuse in this place. And then also a lot of impurities in the CBD products actually lead people to become addictive to it because of the presence of THC. So ACAN is 100% for supporting this, and we help in the publicity and also to let everybody know the reasons and then the harm of CBD.
Right, Chairman. Now that you know that the CBD is being a dangerous drug in Hong Kong right now, so what do you think the government should continue to do to keep the CBD products out of our city to safeguard public health? Because elsewhere in the rest of the world, not every place actually has put CBD as a dangerous drug.
Exactly. Publicity is very important. And this is one thing that we always try to warn, our frequent travelers, people who go abroad, and they see these products and they think, oh, it's just harmless, but actually they may contain THC. So when they bring it back, they could be at risk of under, our jurisdiction. So I think we need to be very careful and also continue our publicity to let people know that there are all kinds of products which actually can be related to psychoactive drugs and can be quite dangerous.
Right. Yeah, how about cannabis? I mean, a lot of young people overseas do take cannabis. What are your views on that?
Well, it is, medically, first of all, it is a problem. It is a drug, okay? It has been played down that, you know, it's harmless, but actually it does cause cognitive impairment, meaning that you don't think so clearly, coordination, if you need motor skills, and hallucination sometimes as well. So all these actually to the body is harmful. It can also affect the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system. So it's not safe as many people paint it. So I think we must be aware of this, and so caution from trying to use this.
Right, Dr. Lee, let's take a break now. And viewers, stay tuned. We will be right back. Thank you for staying with us. And we have Dr. Donald Lee on the show this evening. And he has been talking to us about drug problems in Hong Kong. So, Dr. Lee, in the first part, you have very clearly said that the drug issues in Hong Kong are improving. I mean, that we have far less problems compared to like 10 years ago. And through education, people, especially like the young people, should be more aware of issues like the cannabis. They should be avoiding it completely. Let's talk about another drug called cocaine. I mean, I've heard that there's an upward trend in cocaine abuse. Is that true?
It is indeed, and it's very alarming. Most commonly abused drugs in Hong Kong, number one is heroin. Before, it's between ice and cocaine. Now, cocaine has overtaken ice, so we see the upward trend. This is very worrying, but globally or internationally, this is a problem because United Nations have indicated there's more supply of cocaine now. And then I think, again, the false image of high flyers, you know, a success symbol of being able to use this is being promoted wrongly. And this is actually very alarming because this needs to be corrected. Cocaine is dangerous.
Right, because I'm sure when you watch the movies, you do see people taking cocaine to say that they've made it or they are a very success symbol. I'm sure you have said it clearly that we must tell people this is not true, but what are the harmful effects of cocaine?
Okay, medically, physically, first of all, nasal irritation, you know, people get serious problems with inhaling it. Of course, the hallucination, the incoordination, and actually overdose can cause death because it can affect the heart and the lungs. So it's actually a very strong kind of drug that one must be very cautious of.
So with ACAM, are we planning any specific plans to combat this?
Yes, publicity campaigns are very important, and we are in fact making, you know, some sort of short film clips to tell people the harmful effect of cocaine and not to use it. So again, the same approach. Most important is publicity, education, letting people understand what it's about, and then also enforcement, law enforcement.
You know, that, Dr. Lee, you know, the title of the show today is Can Hong Kong Ever Be Drug-Free? And with all the effort that has been going on, I mean, our predecessors in the committees and the government anti-drug enforcement agencies, why is Hong Kong still not drug-free until today? What is lacking, in your opinion?
I think it's not lacking. We're doing more and more. We are watching, you know, different trends, you know, different developments. But then, on the other hand, those who are advocating drug abuse, trying to sell drugs out there, they're coming out with different means as well. So we need to sort of match them step by step. And until we eradicate them completely, which is our goal, I think it's still quite difficult.
So, in your opinion, I mean, if we have to think out of the box, if we're going to think of additional measures of changes that may be needed to accelerate the progress, anything that you could think of?
Well, if we look at it, why are people taking drugs? There are some reasons as well. Maybe lack of family support, emotional problems, mental state, all that. So from a health point of view, maybe if we can do a little bit more, there's more awareness in the medical community of people who may be prone to drugs, And also, for example, in the younger people that are adolescent, our educators can be a bit more aware and looking at, potential drug abusers. We can stop it before it happens. I think, this proactive, preventive approach would be effective.
Obviously, drug abuse problems affect every individual, even if you're not a drug abuser yourself, because if friends around you having that, they could involve in more crimes, or anything can happen because they don't think straight, as you just said. So is there anything you would like to say to our viewers, to invite them to join us to fight this battle against drugs? It looks like you said education is so important. So this message must be get across. What will you say to the viewers?
Well, I appeal to those watching this program to join me in the fight against, drug abuse. Listen more, look around, show your care, and offer whatever help you can to those who may need it. Overall, so let's stand firm and knock drug out. That's the key message.
Right. Personally, as a new district councillor myself, I'm always looking for ways to support the government and serve our constituents. Do you think that there's anything that you suggest to the role that the actual district council has just been newly formed to help to fight Hong Kong's this issue against drugs? What would you suggest to the district council? Because we are directly with the residents.
Oh, I think they will play an extremely important role and helpful role in anti-drugs. First of all, because of the contact they have in the community. They have been elected or appointed to take care of a group of people in the community. So they're more close to them. They have a better opportunity to provide the correct information and knowledge, and also direct them for help when necessary. So two roles. Number one, as actually a provider of anti-drug abuse services, working with us closely, and also a facilitator. There are many programs going on. For example, even in the district, they have the district fight crime committees, which are quite involved in anti-drug abuse work. So they can be more actively involved and refer them as necessary. And they can organize activities to even increase further the publicity of anti-drug. For example, you may know that there's a Hong Kong Jockey Club drug info center at Admiralty. I would suggest, although different districts, that they can coordinate visits of the local community to this info center, which has a lot of high technology, fun games and all that, to increase people's awareness against the problems of drugs and also how to conduct a healthy living.
I'm just thinking because 18 districts, the whole of Hong Kong, they have different characteristics of different locations. They do behave differently because of locality issues. Anything they could think of to unite these? Anything that the ACAN can maybe start a leading role? What are your views?
Well, we can create material for district councillors to use, basically education material. We do that all the time anyway in the public education sector. So we can have sort of more useful manuals or film clips or even high technology, to offer to them so that they can reach out to the community, attract their attention and deliver the proper message to them. I think from that way, more people can be reached.
Right. Another area that we always touch on in Straight Talk is the Greater Bay Area, the GBA. Now we are getting very close with the GBA, more so than ever. You can see people traveling a lot. We've got residents coming to Hong Kong to watch our fireworks, despite a bit of a transport issue. I'm sure they will fix it in time. How would you say that, do we have even better cooperation now with anti-drug? Because we have the law enforcement right across the border.
All along, actually, we have been quite close, with mainland. We have been involved in the National Narcotics Control Committee organizations and activities. And I think we are quite conscious of now sort of our geographical location of Hong Kong, that, we may be prone to more drug trafficking, etc. But for example, we've been involved in a center in Dongguan that has been recently opened up the anti-drug education base of the Greater Bay Area in June. And so that's a start. And we are organizing, for example, NGO schools and all that to visit this and understand, from a greater perspective, from a Greater Bay Area perspective than just local possible drug abuse problems.
Right, so Dr. Lee, the last question to ask you is, you're now the chairman of ACAN, you're a physician yourself, you're heavily involved in the community affairs in Hong Kong. How confident are you going to say Hong Kong will be drug-free one day?
I'm quite confident, and that's something that I will work on as long as I am working for ACAN.
Right, thank you for being the chairman. I'm afraid we have to leave it here, and thank you, Donald, for shedding light on this critical issue of drug control. We must thank the anti-drug enforcement agencies for having done such a good job, and this is a good reminder not to be complacent. As Desmond Tutu said, drugs take away the dream from every child's heart and replace it with a nightmare. Let us each play our part in supporting the anti-drug measures for a safer, healthier Hong Kong for our future generations. Have a good evening and see you next week.